This is breaking news earlier when we learned the first group of immigrants has arrived at a new detention center deep in the Florida Everglades that officials have dubbed Alligator Alcatraz. That is according to a spokesperson for Attorney General James Uthmire, returned as of now to the Associated Press. They have been sending in those requests all throughout the day here. The facility at an airport used for training will have an initial capacity of about 3,000 detainees. The center was built in 8 days and features more than 200 security cameras and more than 28,000 feet of barbed wire and 400 security personnel. You can see they are hauling equipment in there as there is reported flooding in that area, and you can see a bit of it in the distance. But they are still working to set up some of those final touches. However, as we know from a spokesperson for the Attorney General, detainees have already arrived there. Immigrants who are arrested by Florida law enforcement officers under the federal government's 287G program will be taken to that facility. That is according to an official in President Trump's administration. The program is led by Immigration and Customs Enforcement and allows police officers to interrogate immigrants in their custody and detain them for potential deportation. The facility is expected to be expanded in 500-bed increments until it has an estimated 5,000 beds. That is expected to take place at some point this month. But as you
new detention center deep in the Everglades.
This comes just hours after the first group of detainees arrived at the facility being called Alligator Alcatraz. Local 10's Glenna Mill, those lawmakers are telling us after being denied entry. Glenna.
You know, it's really no secret that the Democrats in this state are opposed to all of this. But those lawmakers do have a statutory right to show up unannounced and inspect any state run of these kinds of facilities. And the fact that they were denied that only amped up the tensions.
As I'm sure you're aware, the statute says that we are able to have access to any facility.
State lawmakers came to verify firsthand.
Schedule a time next week.
There's no time.
Request denied.
My colleagues on both sides of the aisle, they would want us to be here to ensure that this state-run facility is being done in a way that shows that is in a most humane way.
Buses bringing detainees came and went. The first group arriving overnight, that photo posted on state social media.
It's so essential when you have hundreds of millions of public dollars being spent on a political stunt that we have the ability to see for our own eyes what is happening.
To verify the state's plan for mass housing. Importing water, exporting waste, safety, security. That the leaks from pre-opening are sealed against the coming weather, that legal services are available, as the state promises. This immigration attorney stopped to learn and was turned away.
They kindly told me that there had been none of that set up yet for visitation hours for attorneys, nowhere where I could contact.
Alligator Alcatraz is now on the official signage and a tourist attraction, even as a roster of opposition in new letters and an environmental lawsuit asks for a halt. More fencing was being brought in, and now we see they are fencing off the entire front. They are putting a big gate right on Alligator Alley to close off Alligator Alcatraz. One really interesting thing in one of the court filings today from the Department of Homeland Security, they in their filing call this a total state operation. State is in charge, state paid for, and they say that the almost $500 million that the state thinks it will be reimbursed by FEMA is not even a thing at all at this point.
DHS officials say they will no longer return migrants facing prosecution to California. Border Czar Tom Homan cites the state's no-bail policies and refusal to honor ICE detainers as the reason for the change. Senior national correspondent William Lajeunesse is live from Los Angeles. Good morning, William.
Hey, good morning, Mike. So if you're ICE or the Border Patrol and you have reason to believe that the criminal alien that you have just detained will never see the inside of a courtroom, why would you give him back to a city or a system that could not hold him in the first place?
There's a lot of criminals and a lot of illegal aliens here in the City of Angels, and we're going to be here till the mission gets done.
Chief Greg Bovino leads a task force of 100 Border Patrol agents in Los Angeles. His team recently picked up a Chinese national who was not only in the country illegally, but also wanted in L.A. for assault with a deadly weapon. Normally, he'd be handed over to local officials for prosecution. But Bovino posted on X, that's no longer happening. Quote, due to sanctuary policies in California, we aren't turning him over to local authorities because, as we've seen many times, this criminal illegal alien will be released back into the country.
We're seeing a lot of bad actors, bad apples, criminals, and things like that. So rather than put them right back out on the street to harm agents, to harm our citizens, let's just get them out of the country.
Another Bovino post refers to this Salvadoran national wanted for auto theft. Rather than trust L.A. to prosecute, he's been deported.
If they don't have faith that we can do our job, I would say they should have that faith.
LADA Nathan Hochman insists his office does prosecute.
And once they've served their jail or state prison time, they'll be turned immediately over to the federal officials. With the warrant, it's automatic.
The problem is lesser felonies often don't make it to trial, and given many cities' no bail policies and refusal to honor ICE detainers, some suspects simply disappear.
Second custody to prosecute them, they need to do a writ guaranteeing us that when they're done, they'll get them back to us.